and welcome back to the In the Spotlight podcast. I'm your host, Samayar Khan. Today is Wednesday, April 8th, 2020, and day 17 of self-isolation. Today is a special episode, so let's get started. Let's get into the news for today. Today, Ontario has reported 550 new cases of COVID-19 and 21 new deaths, bringing the provincial total to 5,276 cases. Canada now has 19,276 cases. Today, Doug Ford urges that there needs to be an increase in testing for COVID-19. He explains.
What is concerning me, and I've been on the phone last night with the CEO of Ontario Health, Matt Anderson. I was on the command table today. What is unacceptable, absolutely unacceptable, are the numbers of testing that we're doing. I may not understand health, but what people understand around this province and what I understand are numbers. And we also understand countries that have tested and ramped up testing has shown results. As I mentioned to our command table, and to the CEO last night, my patience have run thin, and no more excuses. It's unacceptable. We have the capacity now. Before I understand, we didn't have the reagent. We didn't have all the testing. We have the testing capabilities. We have the assessment centers capabilities. We have the reagent. We say we can do 13,000 a day. Then we need to start doing 13,000 every single day. I want to see every single long-term care facility tested, every patient. I want to see the healthcare workers tested at the long-term care, along with senior residents. I want to see every frontline healthcare worker in this province tested, along with the first responders, our police, our fire, our paramedics. We owe it to them, along with other people being tested. The days are done of these 2,000 and 3,000 a day being tested. And moving forward, we need to see 13,000 tests every single day. I have the confidence of our health team. I have the confidence of our leadership at the table. We have to make this happen. And we need to start doing it immediately, starting tomorrow.
And that was the news for today. So let's get into the highlight of my day. Today was a day where I caught up on final assignments and I didn't really do much else. So today I decided to interview a special guest. I decided to interview my dad, Asanyar Khan. I interviewed him about the Indian restaurant that he opened in Houston, Texas 36 years ago. He also told me about the reason they closed it down. Here's the interview. Enjoy. What gave you the idea to open up a restaurant?
We were living in Canada at that time and decided to move somewhere warm. We moved to Houston as the climate most suited us, as well as the standard of living. So we were looking for different businesses, and at that time realized that introducing an ethnic Indian restaurant to the community would be ideal, as it was not as popular as it is today. So we decided to open an Indian restaurant.
Who did you run the restaurant with?
So I ran it with my wife, and we also had a chef from India, as well as some other workers who were Tex-Mex.
What year did you open the restaurant?
We opened the restaurant in 1984.
How long did you run the restaurant for?
Ran it for 6 years.
Wow, that's awesome. So what kind of food did you serve at this restaurant? Can you name some of the dishes and the popular ones?
So we had the typical North Indian food, and the most popular one, as usual, was the butter chicken and the cream spinach.
What was the name of your restaurant?
The name of the restaurant was Taste of India.
What was the location of the restaurant? Was it downtown Houston or was it in the suburbs?
So we really looked hard and decided where we want to open this Indian restaurant. Downtown Houston did have a few restaurants, and it was close to some of the ethnic communities as well. But we wanted to introduce this food to somewhere very new and where people were kind of understood what the cuisine would be, and people who were in the community were professionals. So we chose to open a restaurant very close to the Space Center in Houston, which was surrounded by high-tech companies and professionals.
What were the people like in Texas when they would come to your restaurant?
People in Texas are very friendly, and they're open to trying different things. This was very new to them, and they all loved it as soon as they tried it, because it related to their Tex-Mex cuisine. It was a bit spicy, it was different, so that worked really well for us.
Wow, that sounds awesome. What was the busiest time of day for you guys? Was it lunch or was it dinner?
Lunch during the weekdays and dinner during the weekends.
What do you think the positive sides were with running the restaurant with your wife?
The most positive side that we found was the customer experience and relating to different people, and that was, I think, was the most important to us.
And what were the challenges?
The negatives, I would say, is getting the people to try the food because it wasn't as very popular, and although we were new to the area, we didn't know a lot about the area.
What was your family life like when running the restaurant?
The family life was the most impacted, as we were a young family at that time. We had 2 little kids, and when I woke up and went to the restaurant, by that time the kids had gone to school, and by the time when I came back, they were in bed. So our family life did suffer, and we hadn't taken time off for several years.
What can you take away from this experience?
What we did take away from there is how powerful the word of mouth advertising is, and how important the customer experience should be.
So for someone who wants to run a restaurant or is going to run a restaurant, what type of advice would you give them?
I would say that you need to have a very good work ethic, because a restaurant is basically 7 days a week, and you need to be very hardworking and realize that your vacation and your holiday time is very limited.
So you said you ran your restaurant for 6 years, so what happened to it?
So the restaurant did well the first 2 years or so, and then unfortunately the Space Shuttle Challenger had a very unfortunate accident, and there were 7 astronauts who were killed in that accident. And some of those astronauts actually visited our restaurant a few days before the unfortunate incident. As a result of the accident, the space program was shut down by several of the companies that were in the area, and that resulted in our restaurant losing a lot of business, because people moved from those companies as well as from the community. And in the end, we ran it for a few more years, and then decided that it was time to sell it, so we sold the restaurant.
In all your years of experience in the restaurant, did you ever decide to open another one?
So after we closed the restaurant, we did look at it to say whether we do another restaurant or not. It did have a lot of impact on our family life, and we, after long and a detailed review, we decided not to open up another restaurant. And at the same time, we were also thinking of moving back to Canada, as we were missing a lot of our extended family, both from my wife's side as well as my side. We did have a lot of people living in Canada, and we decided to move back to Canada after that. After moving back to Canada, we both got jobs in different fields and never went back to the restaurant business.
And that brings us to the end of day 17 of the In the Spotlight podcast. A special thanks to my dad, Asan Yarkhan, for sharing that great interview story. It's also been 2.5 weeks. This marks the end of my daily podcast recording for In the Spotlight during self-isolation. Psych! I'll still be doing these daily podcasts, but I'll be posting them weekly every Friday. I'll still be documenting what I'm doing every day, but this time I'll just be releasing them weekly instead of daily, so that you guys have longer episodes to look forward to and to listen to better content with different segments. This has been so much fun, and I'm Samayar Khan, and this has been In the Spotlight. See you next week for episode 18. I'm signing off.